Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you missed my previous videos, please check out the links below, like, share, and subscribe. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience during the first night in the mansion, the drama, the elimination ceremony, and the morning of. I remember just walking through the beautiful mansion doors and seeing all these beautiful women all dressed up in their gowns and sitting down and getting some drinks from the bar. And a few girls came up to me and were just like, oh my god, you look great, I love your dress, how was it meeting the bachelor outside? And to be honest, I was just honest about it. I couldn't really hide how I felt at the time, but I was just like, yeah, it was okay, And I just quickly started talking to one of the girls and just getting to know her better. And I sat down with all the other girls after, because we're just trying to get to know each other, mingle, and just see who's our competition as well, what's gonna happen throughout the night. Once all the women were sitting down and they were just mingling and drinking a little bit, having a good time, we were told right away that the bachelor is gonna come out and introduce himself and just have a little speech. And so he came out, he told us about his life, how he's an ex-baseball player from the States, and how he just moved back to Toronto because his family's there, and he just wanted to come back home and be with his family, and also find someone to love and be in a relationship with. So we just were listening to him talk, and once that was done, he was just really happy to be there and just telling all the women that thank you for coming out, to doing this. Later on that night, I was just talking to some of the girls and asking them where they were from, what are some of the hobbies they like to do, and when were they gonna actually go and have their one-on-one with the bachelor. It was a big thing that night, who's gonna get the rose that night. Everyone's just trying to figure it out, when's the best time to go and butt in to get their turn to talk to him. And it was really intimidating. We're all there for one reason, and so it was really hard to try to figure out when was the best time for me to go. And so I tried a few times to go and talk, but every time it was not yet, Shaleen, not yet, don't worry, you're gonna get your turn, but not yet. They were filming some other scenes with other girls. I remember sitting on the couch with some of the other women, and then all of a sudden we heard this big commotion going on outside. So we started running towards the windows and we're looking out, and we saw one of the girls came out of the cake and she started singing happy birthday to the bachelor because he was out there with a few other ladies. And so we're oh my gosh, it's his birthday, I had no idea, that's so cool. So everyone started singing happy birthday. I remember one of the girls were oh my gosh, I think she's a stripper. And so she said it so loud from the inside of the mansion that the girl who was singing the happy birthday to him outside heard it. So as soon as she came inside the mansion, she was all not teary-eyed yet, but kind of just upset, and she was talking to me. She was oh my gosh, I heard someone say that I was I'm a stripper. I am not a stripper. I'm just here to find love. I just can't believe that someone would say that about me. And it's I'm just trying to do this out of the kindness of my heart, sing him happy birthday. I thought it was a cool idea to do. And so I'm oh my gosh, it's okay, girl, because she's also thinking about her family's gonna be watching the show, and she doesn't want anyone saying that about her. So I was just trying to calm her down. I'm girl, it's okay, I know it kind of sucks, that's horrible, but don't worry, girl. Throughout the night, I remember just waiting to see when was gonna be my turn to do my little dance with the bachelor and have my brother be the DJ for the night. And hours were going by, and I was just okay, what's happening? Am I gonna get to do it? I had no idea if my brother was even there, okay? So I remember just walking up towards the bar and ordering a drink. So I'm oh, I just want to have a drink and relax a little bit more. And then I glanced, and then all of a sudden I saw my brother outside, with his equipment. So I'm oh my gosh, my brother is here. I'm oh my god, okay, maybe it is still happening, And so I'm having a drink, and he kind of put the thumbs up, yeah, it's good, he's chilling. And by the way, that night it was super cold, it was freezing, guys, okay? So I was okay, I guess it is gonna be happening. So I was just hoping, but then hours were still going by. So I was hey, maybe this isn't happening, I don't know. I felt like Jim Carrey in the Truman Show. I was okay, okay, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. I was literally the third or the second last girl to talk to the bachelor that night, not because I chose to, but because I had to wait my turn. So I know in real life, I don't wait for a man. A man comes to me, or it's mutual, okay? But in this reality world of this show, you have to just go on based on what's happening on set, the drama, just listening all the time. And so that was just the key thing of knowing that I can't really go when I really want to go and talk. I have to really wait and say wait for them to okay, now you could go. So that was one thing that was I had to adjust to being on set for The Bachelor. hoping to have my chance to talk to him. That was like just the key thing that night. But it was definitely really interesting and, you know, a little bit awkward sometimes too. But, you know, I just had to like wait. Finally, it was my turn to talk to the Bachelor, and so I was just super pumped and excited, but it was like 5 or 6 hours into filming already, so I was just trying to wake myself up. And so we went outside and they had it done so beautifully with like a white couch with white pillows and candles lit. It was really pretty. And so we sat down and I was just trying to get to know him a little bit better, telling him about myself, about my family. And I did say I wanted 4 kids. Oh my gosh, at this moment his eyes opened so wide. Who wants to hear that someone wants 4 kids on their first date? Okay. I was literally just laughing within, but I just needed to know if he wanted a big family or if he wanted a small family. I was like, is he ready for this process? Like, I don't know, but you know, it was just like a really nice talk that we had that night. After I had my one-on-one with the Bachelor, I went back into the mansion. I sat down with all the other women, and once everyone had their chance to talk to him, they were like setting up the ceremony in a different room. You know, I was just like walking around in the living room area, and then I like glanced down to the floor and I saw like a paper and it had all of our faces on it, and then there's like some women that had their faces crossed off, including mine. So guys, I knew I was going home before the ceremony. It was no surprise to me. Even so, I had it like a gut feeling that I was going home anyways, but just actually seeing it on paper by mistake, it was just like, okay, well, that's that. I was like, should I just go home now or forever hold my peace? Okay, like real talk. But I decided, you know what, I'll just stay throughout the ceremony and just like suck it up and like leave respectfully and just like whatever, you know. But I didn't really see myself going past episode 1 or 2, just to be honest with you guys. But yeah, it was just like finalized when I saw that paper randomly. I was like, okay, well, that's that. Once the ceremony room was ready, then they called all the women in there to do the ceremony. And so I was climbing up the steps, and all of a sudden Shanti, one of the contestants, she popped out of nowhere. Okay, she's bawling her eyes out, like mascara's all over her face, she's trembling, and it was like a different person to me, because like hours earlier she was like, you know, really chill, really calm, really like nice, and just like she was like the first person I spoke to when I got into the mansion. So it was like a different person because she like disappeared for hours. Okay guys, so I haven't seen her since the beginning we started filming until the end of the filming of doing the ceremony. So I'm like standing up all against the other contestants, you know, waiting for the Bachelor and the host to come out. And Shanti, with the other contestants who's like behind me, she's just like, I'm so sorry and it should have been you. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like girl, I'm like, it's okay. Like I'm whispering to her because, you know, I don't want to talk too loud, but I'm like, it's okay. Like I'll be fine. Like, please, like, don't worry. Like, I already, like, in my mind, I'm like, I already know I'm going home. At this time, I'm just like, I'm ready to go home at the same time. So it's okay, girl. Like, you know, and she was just bawling her eyes out. I was just like, I felt so bad. I was just like, oh my God, like, no girl should be crying like this, okay? Like, especially on the first night, like, no, just no. Well, it was awkward. Like, it was just really, really awkward, ready to go home at this point. See what's gonna go down. I already know I'm going, and just go home. But it was just crazy because I just felt bad for this girl. Like she's literally bawling her eyes out and just like telling me like she knows like it should have been me who was going on to the next episode. And I was like, it's okay, girl. Like it is okay. Like, but yeah, it was interesting. As the host and the Bachelor came into the ceremony room, you know, they did like a 1-2 minute speech, and they had the roses right next to him. And so he started handing the roses out, you know, calling the different women's names. And then once my name didn't get called, obviously I wasn't surprised, but you know, it still did suck. But I just started like, you know, hugging all the lovely women beside me and saying bye to them. I walked towards the Bachelor and I just told him like, I hope he gets what he's looking for and enjoy the experience, something like that. And I just walked away. You know, I'm like, I'm not gonna see this guy ever again. Like, you know, it's like whatever. But funny fact is like months later, I end up seeing him like down the road. Like it was just so funny. I was just like, oh, that's him. But I'm like, just kept my head straight, started looking a different direction. Like it is what it is. Like, but yeah, it was just so interesting to me that night because, you know, I finally got to like, you know, go on the Bachelor show and see how the experience really was being on set. So it was just really fun and like awkward sometimes and like exciting. So it was like all these different feelings you have when you do these type of shows. It's just, that's how it is. So that night, I believe like 4 or 5 women went home, including myself. And so, you know, some of the other contestants who were like left that night, I was a little bit shocked. I was like, oh, like really? Okay. But you know, all these women were so like beautiful and nice, and like some obviously had like their own different like characters. You know, one girl was dressed up as like a mermaid, you know, everyone had their own little theme and stuff that was going on that night. But for the women that I did get to talk to that night, like some of them were really nice and really chill, they seemed. So it was just interesting to see the girls that was going home, including myself. After that, you know, I had to wait a little bit longer. We had to like go outside and I had to do like my one-on-one, just answer a few questions, like just it's basically just showing the contestants, saying like why they thought they went home and like what was the reasoning, do you think, and all that stuff. And so after that, I went to like a smaller room and I waited with the other contestant girls who were leaving that night, which actually was the morning. So it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, guys. Like, this was a full night and morning. It was like me going to a club and like not leaving until 6, 7 in the morning. That's how it was, okay, guys? So at this point, I'm just feeling all mashed up, like, you know, just want to like go back to the hotel, take a shower, put on my nice comfy clothes and just like go home at this point. I remember being in the waiting room with some of the other contestants that was going home that night, and then a car came and picked us up, and it was just like crazy because we're in the car and one of the contestants, her name is Stephanie, oh my gosh, she was from Ireland, and she literally was saying all these different things in the car and she was making me laugh so flippin' hard. I was trying to hold it in, but I just couldn't help myself. And like, you were my highlight that morning. Seriously, you were my highlight. I'm not gonna repeat what she was saying, but Lord have mercy, it was funny. Okay. And then after, when I got back to the hotel and like just put everything together, and I was talking to the care team and they were just so loving and so supportive of me. Like, they were so upset that I was going home, like they really wanted me to go to the next episode, and you know, they were just making me feel like even more like sad that I would have felt anyways. But I was just like, oh my god, you guys are making me sad, like I can't believe it. Like the morning of, like, you know, finally like packing all my stuff, a limo came to pick me up, and I just remember going down and getting called like, hey, your limo's here. And you know, I started tearing up because like the care team, they were like tearing up for me, and like the casting, it was just really, really nice, and like of them to like show so much support and like love. And so they were making me cry. I was bawling my eyes out. I don't even know why I was bawling my eyes out, because I was like, you know, obviously me and the Bachelor, we are not a match, but I was just like, oh my god, I'm tearing up right now, like, you know. But it was just crazy to me, and it was such a good experience for me because I just really wanted to see if I was gonna find someone who I'm really interested in and to like have some kind of feelings towards. But like, knowing that it didn't happen, I was just still, you know, appreciative and grateful that I got that experience. And so once the limo came, I just went inside, you know, the limo driver came in, like packed all my stuff, took me all the way home. And so that was my journey. It was truly bittersweet, but I would never forget my experience on The Bachelor Canada. You know, it was just like being so grateful to have the experience and the opportunity, but like just understanding how it works behind the scenes was like one of the key things I wanted to know. Yeah, once I got home, it was definitely an interesting time for me just to like unwind and like be chill for a bit, and like not having to like, you know, someone always telling me what to do like throughout the day. It was just like, okay, let me just calm down, back to like reality basically, you know. So that was my experience on The Bachelor Canada season 3. That was my journey, and I just wanted to share it with you guys just to have that little insight of what happened somewhat on the show. But you know, I would never change it. I would never change my experience. It was something that, you know, I knew how to adjust to, like being on set and just like getting to understand how it goes on the show, like on a reality show. So it was really interesting just to find out and to be on it. It was a great one, an awkward one, an upsetting one, a happy one, an excited one. It was all my feelings all into one. I was just really grateful to have the experience and have the opportunity as well. But when you are on the show, you have to experience it for yourself. You know, you have to really understand like how it works when you get on the show, and no one knows knows until you're on the show. When you watch a TV show, it's a glance, guys. It's a glance of what really happens behind scenes. So just keep that in mind when you're watching your shows, okay? There's a lot that happens that is not shown. So that's one thing that I learned from being on these shows. Just like, you know the truth, and you will always know the full truth. And that's just how it is. Thank you all for watching my video. Please like, share, and subscribe. New videos every week. My social media contacts are below. Keep on watching, and I'll see you guys until next time.